G'day legends and welcome back to the round 2 edition of the Show Us Your Tips show. We're back at it for another week. Look, glad to have you here. Hope you're all doing well out there. Welcome to the new subscribers. We picked up a few newbies this week. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. Welcome to the family. All that jazz. Look, before we get stuck into the tips, don't forget guys, links to the Twitter, the Insta and the eBay store will be downstairs in the description as they always are. I'm sure you know about that by now. Look, it's been a big week in footy. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff going down in the Tasmanian areas. 100k subscribers damn, I've been doing too much YouTube. 100,000 founding members in 24 hours. That's a pretty mammoth achievement. In fact, you know, if you're looking at pure numbers, they're now probably one of the biggest clubs in the country, and they're not going to play in that game for another 4 years. That is crazy. But yep, I signed up. I signed Mrs. Mac up, and I got a few of my mates to jump on the bandwagon as well. So I'm now a member of 2 clubs, and neither of those are the clubs I support. So you know, it's good times. It's good times. So look, guys, without further ado, we're going to get stuck into the tips. That's it. Let's get it. Alright guys, so aforementioned in the intro, we did not have a great week last week. We went 5 for 9, which is definitely not what I was going for, and there was a couple of tough results there for us. I was really spewing about the Gold Coast game. I did hear Tex was out that morning and just didn't change my tip. I really should have, to be honest, but you know, them's the breaks. I actually hate changing my tips because you know, if you change your tip at the last minute and then you get it wrong, it is just the absolute pits. So yeah, look, anyways, lesson learned. Maybe we'll change it up next time. Look, I thought we were pretty unlucky in the Hawthorn-Essendon game. I didn't think the Hawks were that far off. Look, to be honest, I saw 0% of this game. I was just watching the scores while I was at work, and yeah, look, I don't know. The Hawks were, you know, lucky to be close at times, but it definitely looked like they weren't that far away. Look, I definitely think they are closer to a flag than the Bombers, though, that's for sure. Look, the other 2 games we had was obviously the Pies and the Lions. I just expected them both to win. I definitely did not expect last year's grand finalists to both be 0-2 after the first 2 weeks of the year. Look, it's going to be tough for them to come back from that. Not in and making the 8 cents. Obviously, they'll make the 8, but you know, relying on that top 2 berth and the double chance with the home ground advantage, it's going to be hard to get when you're 0-2. Look, normally you teams up there only lose 4 or 5 games for the year, so you know, starting off 0-2 is definitely not ideal. All right, that's enough about last week. Time to get into this week. All right, so we're going to kick things off for Thursday night footy at the MCG. We've got St Kilda and the Pies, and look, surely the Pies bounce back here. I can't see them going 0-3. I think if they do, the fans might absolutely tear the place down. Look, if I think this was at Marvel, the Saints might have a bit better of a shot and might get over the line. I don't expect the Pies to be in full Premiership mode 1 week after going 0-2. But look, I do think they're going to do the job here and get it done by about 15 points. So let's lock that in. 15 points to the Pies. And move on to Friday night footy. We got the Crows hosting the Cats at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows were absolutely awful for about 3.5 quarters last week against the Suns. But I do have them bouncing back this weekend. Tex should be back from that back niggle, which really straightens them up going forward. But look, I will say this. It doesn't bode well for Adelaide that they are still so reliant on Tex. He must be 31, 32 now, maybe even older. I don't even know, to be honest. But look, it seems to me like this is about the time where they really need to see Darcy Fogarty taking control and just really taking charge of the forward line, making it his own. Look, I don't think that an over-reliance on Tex at this time when Adelaide are in this rebuild is a great thing for them going forward. But I do think they will get the job done this week against the Cats by about 3 goals. So we're going to say, yeah, Adelaide by 18 points. Moving on to Saturday football now, and the first game of the weekend, we have got North Melbourne and Freo, and far out, weren't Freo bloody impressive last week against Brizzy? They were absolutely unreal. Now, what I would like to see them do is then take that form and absolutely smash North Melbourne this weekend. Let's not forget that North did roll Freo at home in the round 2 game last year. So, look, hopefully Freo are still feeling the pinch from that one and come out absolutely firing and go 2-0 for a really good start to the season, and then can hopefully push towards finals. The one thing that I am a little bit cagey about with Freo is obviously the 2 injuries they copped on the weekend to Brennan Cox and Oscar McDonald. It does leave their key defensive stocks very thin, to be honest. But look, I think if Alex Pearce can do the job on Nick Larkey, that should do a pretty good, that should go pretty well to making sure that Freo get the 4 points here. And I think they will. I think they're going to tip them by about 5 goals. Let's lock that in. Or 29, good enough. All right, moving on to the next game, and we've got Hawthorn versus Melbourne at the MCG. Look, I think I'm done tipping Hawthorn for a couple of weeks. But look, to be honest, even if Hawthorn had got the job done over Essendon last weekend, I think I'd still have the Demons here. I think it's pretty tough to go against the D's if you're Hawthorn right now. Max was back in some great form. Absolutely. Well, didn't do a number on Tim English. Just played a really good game on his own. I think he was really good. I think Clary looks like he is getting better with every minute he spends on the park, and maybe it's just not all doom and gloom for the D's. So gonna lock this one in. D's by 5 goals again. Gonna be a lot of sort of larger margins this week, it seems. Moving on to the next game now, and we've got Swans versus the Bombers at the SCG on Saturday afternoon. Bombers, look, they were apparently okay against Hawthorn, but Sydney were much better against the Demons. I think Swans might just get a blowout here, given that it is at the SCG. Look, Sydney at the SCG is probably the hardest road trip in footy at the moment, and I really don't think that Essendon are going to be the team that gets the job done. In saying that, they do have a pretty good history against the Swans, and pulled a few upsets over them in recent years. But no, I don't think it's this year. I'm going to have the Swans here by probably about 6 goals. All right, that one is locked in, and we are now moving on to the Sunday games. And the first game of Sunday, we have got the Dogs versus the Gold Coast at Ballarat, out in the country grounds, which is always good to see. Look, I don't know if I can tip against the Suns this week. I obviously shouldn't have tipped against them last week, but I don't think I can tip them against them for another week. This one probably could go either way, but I just feel like Bevo's going to Bevo himself out of this one. I think he's going to outsmart himself again, and I think the Suns are going to get the jobs done. I don't really know what's going on with the Dogs. They're such a hard team to pick. But one thing I am really looking forward to in this game is the midfield battle. I'm really looking forward to seeing English, Libba, Bont, and Treloar go up against Witts, Took, Rao, and Noah Anderson. I think that is going to be an absolutely great battle, and will obviously go a long way to see where the game goes. Look, I think the Suns are going to get the job done. I'm looking forward to all that sort of stuff. But yeah, should make for some compelling viewing. Should be a great game, and I'm going to have the Suns here by 18 points. All right, moving on to the last 2 games of the round now. And look, these ones are going to be pretty straightforward. There's 2 teams here that I see as being bottom 3 teams going up against 2 teams that will be absolutely thereabouts come the pointy end of the season. First one of those games, we've got the Tigers facing off against Port at the MCG. Pretty straightforward here. Tigers were bloody ordinary for the last... Well, actually, they were all right last week against Carlton. That's probably a bit harsh. They were all right against Carlton and pushed them a lot further than I thought they were going to go. But look, Port were pretty good against West Coast last week. And if they'd kicked straight, they probably would have won by 100 points. So, look, I'm going to lock Port in here by, 42 sounds good to me. Moving on to the very last game of the round, and this one absolutely terrifies me as a West Coast fan, to be honest. Look, there's one thing that West Coast did absolutely terribly, more than a lot of the other things they did terribly last week, and that was defense in transition, and they are coming up against the Orange Tsunami, arguably the best transition side in the comp at the moment in the GWS Giants. And look, unless West Coast can drastically change how they defend in transition, I cannot see this being any less than a 10-goal margin. So I'm going to have this right at the edge here. I think the most... Oh, no, how much can we tip by? Let's say 71 points. I think that is being generous, to be honest. Yeah, not going to be a good week for the West Coast. But look, that'll be it for this week. Quick recap. We've gone with the Pies. We've gone for the Crows over Geelong. Freo to get the job done over North. We've got the Demons getting the job done over the Hawks. Sydney in a pretty easy one, I assume. Suns to just get it done there. And Port and Giants to win pretty big over the weekend. Look, pretty straightforward round of tipping, I would have thought. I dare say there'll be a lot of people getting a perfect 8 this week. We do have the 2 teams on the bye. Probably not a bad week to put a cheeky 5 on your tips. You didn't hear that from me. Gamble responsibly if that's what you're going to be doing. But yeah, look, that'll do me for this week, guys. Cheers for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.